Today, we're gonna use some cool countertop kitchen tools to help us get dinner on the table really fast, which is important if you wanna cook midweek and things get busy. We're gonna start with the air fryer, making a spicy fried chicken sandwich. Oh, look at that. Next up, we're gonna use a toaster oven to make a nice little meal for two with fresh cod chickpeas and cherry tomatoes. Followed up with the slow cooker. We're gonna make meatballs Florentine with tons of fresh spinach. Last, but definitely not least, we're gonna use the pressure cooker to make a Mediterranean-style stew with calamari, chorizo, and dried chickpeas. So we're gonna get started with the air fryer because this fried chicken sandwich is on the menu pretty much every week at my house. It is so incredibly fast. Everyone loves it. I'm gonna make it spicy because that's how I like it, but I have to say it's easy to vary if some people in your household don't like spice or they like a lot of pickles, which is what is popular in my house. All right, so we're gonna start with boneless, skinless chicken breasts. 2 pieces, we're gonna pound them so they're a nice even thickness. That makes sure they'll cook at the same rate. Just cover them with a sheet of plastic wrap. Now, to make nice sized pieces of chickens that fit on a hamburger bun, I'm just gonna cut them in half, trying to keep my hands clean from the chicken so I don't have to keep washing them. All right, here we go. Set this aside for now. Let's look at the coating. So the air fryer is gonna do a great job of toasting the breadcrumbs, but it's nice to give them a little bit of a head start. So this is panko, cup of panko, a little bit of olive oil. I toasted them. You can toast it on the stovetop or in the microwave. You just want them to get lightly golden. To help that panko stick to the chicken, we're gonna make an egg wash. So this is 1 large egg. To make this egg have some extra sticking power, we're gonna add a tablespoon of flour. Just all-purpose flour is fine here. So now we're gonna get into the spiciness of this. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of your favorite hot sauce. 1, 2, and a little. Next up, half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Actually, I had someone ask me just yesterday in the grocery store, because they had seen me on the show, they asked me, when do you use garlic powder versus fresh garlic? I thought that was such a good question. Fresh garlic, when garlic is really an important flavor in the dish and you want that fresh flavor, but for spice rubs or when it's just a background note, garlic powder is a really easy way to get that flavor. All right, I'm gonna whisk this together. Add a little bit of salt and pepper. There we go. Oh, you can smell the spice. All right, time to bread the chicken. Get my little assembly line. It's gonna wind up going in the air fryer basket, so I'll put that here. I already sprayed that with vegetable oil spray. That just prevents the chicken from sticking, obviously. All right, into the spicy egg mixture. So much flavor in this. Oh yeah, and then into the panko. Really pressing that panko onto it here. All right, into the fryer basket it goes. My mouth is watering just thinking about these sandwiches. They're that good. Into the basket. There's the last piece of chicken. I'm gonna quickly wash my hands. Okay, now for the air fryer itself. It's just essentially a convection oven, but it's so much smaller, it heats up really fast. And I like that it's easy, it's countertop, I don't have to bend down, and it's got a handle, so even my daughter could do this. All right, so 400 degrees is the magic temperature. Now there's a little confusion because the time it takes to heat it up is also some of the cooking time if you think about it. So I'm using a separate timer, 6 minutes for this first side to have the oven heat up and to cook it, and then we'll flip it over. Oh, you can see they're only half cooked. You can see how beautiful they are. Now it's time to flip them over because the underside isn't as brown. It's just a little more pale. You can smell the hot sauce too. Back in it goes, another 8 to 10 minutes or so until the second side is nice and golden and the chicken itself is cooked through and registers about 160 degrees. Timer goes off, which means I know that chicken is done. Look at that. It is beautiful. I love that little extra browning around the edges. I'm gonna let this sit and hang out just for a couple minutes while we get the rest of the sandwich together. Because I said it was gonna be a spicy chicken sandwich. It means I gotta make a little mayonnaise. I'm just gonna stir some hot sauce right into some mayonnaise, about a tablespoon. I also have some shredded lettuce. My daughter is all about the pickles, but I like the spicy jarred jalapenos. They add the sort of that pickly flavor, but also reinforces the spice. So, all right, I'm gonna make 4 sandwiches. Gonna make these all the same. Our favorite Kaiser rolls here. All right, just put some of the mayonnaise right on the bottom. Now, I put the tomato on the bottom. I just think it's easier if you're gonna add tomato. That way it doesn't slip out. You have a little more sturdiness to eating your sandwich. All right, on goes the chicken. Oh, hello. Now, I make this recipe all the time, so I know this chicken's cooked through. If you wanted to temp it, however, it's chicken breast, so it should temp out at 160 degrees. You might want to do that to make sure the chicken's cooked through. All right, we're gonna top with some of these pickled jalapeno slices. And last but not least, Ian's shredded lettuce. Oh, do you hear that little squirt of the mayonnaise? Oh, I love that sound. And that's it. I mean, it's a chicken sandwich, and what'd that take me? Less than 20 minutes from start to finish. Oh, look at that. Oh, juicy, steamy. Just got that hit of spice. So easy, so good. Air fryer to the rescue for a fast fried chicken sandwich. Coming up, I'm gonna show you how easy it is to use the toaster oven to make a fast meal for 2 using fresh cod, cherry tomatoes, and canned chickpeas.
At Cooks Illustrated, we're food nerds. That's why every recipe we develop involves research, cooking science, and rigorous testing by our team of expert test cooks. Only the highest rated recipes earn a place in our award-winning magazine. Every issue features our latest recipes and discoveries, cooking tips, and equipment and ingredient reviews. Our step-by-step photos and hand-drawn illustrations show you exactly how to succeed. So, are you ready to become the best cook you know? Subscribe to Cooks Illustrated magazine at cooksillustrated.com today.
Next up is the toaster oven, which is essentially a little oven that sits on your countertop. But a lot like the air fryer, it heats up much more quickly than your regular oven, on average about 4 or 5 minutes versus the 20 minutes of the oven. And it's on the countertop, no bending over, and it's perfect if you're making small meals for 2, which is what we're gonna do today. I have some gorgeous fresh cod from the fishmonger down the street, and I'm gonna bake it with some cherry tomatoes. Just wanna make sure you cut the cherry tomatoes in half, that way they release their juice and make a little bit of a sauce. This is 6 ounces of cherry tomatoes. Oh, there's the dog. He knows I'm cooking. Hey buds, can you close the door after yourself, please, next time? So there's the cherry tomatoes right into a baking dish. It goes. I know, isn't this a nice baking dish? I love it for little meals for 2 in the toaster oven. Now I'm gonna chop a shallot. This is a big old shallot, which I like shallot, the flavor. It's like a mild, sort of sweeter, more fragrant onion. Shallots have been getting huge though. Long gone are the days of the precious little shallot. They're just almost like onions. Still taste good though. All right, cutting a shallot is just like cutting an onion. In fact, a lot of people like to use a smaller knife when cutting a shallot because it gives you a little more control. I just like using the tip of the knife. So we're gonna go down through the shallot, but not through the root end. That root end is holding those layers together. We'll go horizontally. There we go. That's good. Into the dish it goes. Bring this up. We're gonna add some garlic. I'm gonna use the rasp grater to grate the garlic right into the dish. Just makes it nice and easy. Make sure that garlic flavor really gets throughout the dish. And like I said, you wind up with a little bit of sauce in the bottom. And I like that the garlic flavor is in that sauce. While I have the microplane out, gonna get some lemon zest and a little lemon juice right into the baking dish. That looks good. Save this for later. Gonna add a little bit of water again to help make that sauce, just a couple tablespoons. the chickpeas. Just a can, one of the small cans, the 15-ounce cans of chickpeas. I gave them a good rinse, so they have a nice clean flavor. And now for a few spices. We're gonna replicate the spices in the dish and also make a spice rub for the fish, so it has a lot of flavor. Starting off with half a teaspoon of ground paprika and ground coriander, a little bit of salt and pepper, and about a tablespoon or so of olive oil. All right, and that's it for the vegetables. Now, let's focus on this gorgeous cod that I got from the store. These are cod loins, though tails would also work well. The tails are thinner, right? So if you get a tail piece that tastes just as good, you just want to fold it in half so it has about this thickness. That way it'll cook through at about the same rate. All right, so each piece is 6 to 8 ounces. As I said before, we're gonna make a little spice rub for it. So a little more of the paprika and the coriander. A little salt. And just a pinch of cayenne. There we go. Nice simple spice rub, kind of repeating the flavors that are already in the dish. Mix that together. All right, so this fish has been patted dry with paper towels. I'm gonna coat it with a little oil and then rub it completely with that spice rub. You're gonna get your hands dirty with this one. Oh, I love it. The smell of those spices, even if they touch the oil, they really start to come alive. All right. Gorgeous. I'm gonna nestle this fish right into the dish. There we go. Give my hands a good wash here. And it's ready for the oven. So I have this already heated up. 400 degrees is the magic temperature. Goes right in. It only takes 20 to 25 minutes for the fish to cook through. Of course, this recipe also works with a regular oven. I just really like the convenience of the toaster oven. And again, especially if you have a bad back, it's nice that it's on counter height. Oh, hi Ziggs. I know, Ziggs likes the cod too. This isn't for you either, buds. I'll make you some food later. The fish has been cooking for about 25 minutes. Oh, it smells amazing. You can see the fish. I've been poking it as it's been cooking. That's why it flaked apart a little bit, because that's how I tell when it's done. If you have an instant read thermometer, it would register about 140. But I like the old nick and peek method when working with cod. Just kind of pull back a flake and look right in there. Oh, it looks perfect. All right, time to get it out of the pan. Fish is pretty delicate, so I'm gonna use this nice gentle fish spat. Put it right on top of the baby kale. And the heat from the fish helps to wilt the kale a little bit. You can see there's a little bit of sauce in the bottom. It was made with the fish jus and a little bit of water and of course the juice from the cherry tomatoes. You can see those cherry tomatoes wilted a little bit. Putting it on top of the kale, helping that kale wilt. You could use spinach, you could use chard. You don't even need to put greens on there, but if you're at my house, you're gonna get some greens. All right, gonna set this dish aside. And you really don't need to finish this with much of anything, but a little drizzle of good olive oil. Oh, yes. And a little bit of fresh cilantro. You can chop it if you want. I just like picking it. Again, leaving it like a nice big leaf of bright green, but I love cilantro. It's one of the few herbs I grow in my backyard in a window box. Half the window box, scallions, the other half, cilantro. Always a fresh squeeze of lemon. Fresh lemon and the olive oil. Oh yeah, you can see this. Oh, it flakes right apart. Just that little bit of seasoning on the outside, fresh olive oil. And then if you get one of the cherry tomatoes, it's just softened and wilted a little bit. What a simple, flavorful, and relatively healthy meal in what, less than half an hour. Coming up, we'll use the slow cooker to make hands-off meatballs Florentine. The slow cooker is the perfect way to make meatballs because you can just let them simmer away all day while you will go off and do other things. Now these meatballs are really good because they have a lot of spinach in them. They're meatballs Florentine. So baby spinach is the easiest way to go here. We're gonna chop up some baby spinach and put it right into the meatballs. The rest of the spinach will go in the sauce at the end. You want to chop this pretty finely, about a cup of chopped spinach. Can you hear Ziggy in the background panting? He loves meatballs. The only reason I know he loved meatballs is one time I got up from my chair, he hopped up in my chair and helped himself to a meatball before anyone could say or do anything. Huh, Ziggs? Huh, Ziggy? Yeah, you love meatballs. All right. You have to cook for a while though, buds. Again, about a cup of spinach. I'm gonna put it right into the bowl with the meat. It's a pound of meat. I like the lean meat here, 93% or thereabouts, just because it's cooking in the slow cooker. And if you use meat that's much richer, you're gonna wind up with kind of a greasy sauce. All right, rinse my hand here. Next up, we're gonna add a little bit of garlic. Using the microplane, I'm just gonna grate the garlic right into the bowl. There we go. A little bit of finely grated Parmesan. Some panko breadcrumbs. Onto the breadcrumbs go a little bit of whole milk. The breadcrumbs and the milk make a sort of a panade that you use that helps keep the meatballs nice and moist as they cook. A few red pepper flakes and a little bit of salt. There we go. Using my hands, I'm just gonna mix this all together. All right, that looks pretty good, nice and evenly mixed. Now time to make the meatballs. Get about 12 meatballs out of a pound of meat. It's a decent sized meatball, not too big, not too small. Just gonna pinch off like a generous 2 tablespoons. There we go, about like that. Now this mixing and shaping of the meatballs is really the most laborious part of this whole recipe. It's not even that hard, you're just mixing everything together in a bowl. The rest of it is completely hands off. All right. There I have it, 12 meatballs. Gonna go wash my hands. All right, now before we put the meatballs into the slow cooker, I'm gonna put it in the microwave first. And this is a good trick whenever you're putting meatballs into a slow cooker. It helps them firm up so they don't break apart later during those hours of simmering time. So into the microwave it goes, 5 minutes, full power. Ah, there they are. Ah, smells like meatballs. Now they're not cooked through by any means, but you can see just the outside of the meatballs have set. And again, it just helps them hold together as they simmer for hours. And they're gonna simmer in the sauce, which really helps the sauce take on good flavor too. Starting with a big can of crushed tomatoes, a can of tomato sauce. So this has a smooth texture, has a slightly cooked tomato flavor, often has a little bit of garlic and herbs in it. We're gonna add some tomato paste, about 2 tablespoons. 1, 2. Next up, a little soy sauce, which is kind of an odd ingredient for a spaghetti and meatball recipe, but it has this deep umami flavor, and that's what you're looking for when you want to cook in the slow cooker. A little bit there. Other umami boosters are dried porcinis or anchovy. Again, anything that gives that hearty, meaty flavor, because we didn't sear these, and that's where you get some fond, but we're gonna get that meaty flavor through the soy sauce. Just a little more garlic, again, using the rasp grater. There we go, a little salt. We'll add more later to taste. And again, just a few more red pepper flakes. All right, let's stir this all around. In go the meatballs and any of the juices on the plate. Oh yeah, all right, I'm gonna cover the meatballs with sauce, and that's it. Lid goes on. Now, we're gonna cook it on low, 4 to 5 hours. There we go. And this kind of recipe is perfect for a weekend. So put it on around noontime, say, maybe take a nap. And you wake up and you have a homemade meatball and spaghetti dinner. Pasta's cooked, the meatballs have cooked. One last thing I want to do, stir in a bit more spinach right into the sauce, really make that spinach flavor shine, make it worth the name Florentine. It wilts within just a minute or two. I love plating the spaghetti and the meatballs all on one big platter. It just feels impressive, like a big old Sunday dinner. Tossing the sauce with the pasta. This is when you could add the pasta cooking water if you thought it needed it. I don't think it needs it. Get my mitts on here. Oh yeah. Now top it with the rest of the meatballs. Can you imagine coming home from an afternoon of errands or waking up from a nap and just knowing that this is going to be what's for dinner and all you got to do is boil a little pasta? I mean, how nice. A little Parmesan on top. Oh, don't you love when the Parmesan just melts right away? Oh, my little tasting plate of this is probably going to be quite sizable because I love these meatballs. Oh, yeah. Oh, hi. How did you know? This guy. Never miss a meal, do we, Ziggs? A little extra sauce. My tasting plate looks a lot like a regular dinner portion, doesn't it? First up, the meatball. Held together. The sauce is very simple. It has a really nice round tomato flavor. Has a meatiness thanks to the soy sauce and of course simmering the meatballs in it. That fresh hit of spinach. It's such a flavorful and hearty meal. Perfect reason to pull out your slow cooker. And coming up last, I'm gonna use the Instant Pot to make one of my favorite Mediterranean stews featuring calamari, chorizo, and dried chickpeas.
Love our in-depth reviews? Get the latest from our reviews team delivered straight to your inbox. Our well-equipped cook newsletter provides top product picks, no-nonsense buying guides, and must-try recipes. No extra fluff, just the smartest ways to shop, save, and cook. Sign up for free now at americastestkitchen.com/newsletter.
Time to make the calamari stew in the Instant Pot, which is a really great way to cook calamari because it comes out super tender. Now the trick with calamari is you either have to cook it really fast or cook it really low and slow in order for it to be tender. But the Instant Pot takes all the guesswork out of it. And it's one of those restaurant style dishes that is so easy to make at home. Now there's calamari obviously, but we're also gonna add chorizo. Now this is Spanish style chorizo and it's semi-cured, and that means it can cook a little bit and release its flavors into the stew. This is about 6-inch piece here. We're just gonna slice it nice and thin. You can cut this into different shapes. You can cut it into half moons if you want, but I like the big round pieces of sausage sticking out of this stew. Makes a really nice little morsel when you stab it with your fork. Alrighty. Now, I have the pot heating up on the saute function because we're going to saute the vegetables and the chorizo before we add the calamari. So, it's been heating up a little bit. Going to add a tablespoon of oil. Also going to add 1 chopped onion. And 2 red bell peppers. They add nice color and a really nice sweetness. And the chorizo. We're just going to cook this until the onions have softened and the chorizo is lightly browned. And it takes about 8 minutes or so. While those vegetables and chorizo are cooking, time to prep the squid. Now, squid or calamari, both terms are used on packaging, is found in the freezer section of your seafood store. And when you buy it, you usually have bodies and tentacles, and both work well in this stew. Now, you just want to thaw it. I'm making nice wide rings because, again, this is more stewy. And I like to see the big pieces. So just gonna slice them right across. And now for the tentacles, which is kind of my favorite part. If they're small, you can leave them whole, or you can cut them in half if they're on the larger side. All right, quick wash of my hands, then we can go back to the pot. So, oh, perfect. There's some browning on the bottom of the pot. You can see the onions and the peppers have got some nice browning on them, and that is important for the flavor of the stew. In goes some spices, and we're gonna use some hot smoked paprika. And to be honest, I don't have hot smoked paprika in the house. I have smoked paprika and cayenne, and using the two, you can pretty much make your own smoked paprika. You want about 2 teaspoons of the hot smoked stuff, or you can substitute just about 1/4 teaspoon of the cayenne and make the rest up with the smoked paprika. Some garlic, 4 cloves right into the pot. Oh, you can smell the smoked paprika. Now for the wine. I like using a medium-bodied wine here. I'm actually going to drink this wine when I eat the stew, so using the same wine for both is always nice. You want just half a cup of the wine. This is a nice Pinot Noir from Argentina. It's actually kind of new to me. I'm excited to try it in a bunch of different recipes. All right. We're going to give that wine a little bit of time to cook off, reduce its flavor, drive off some of that alcohol. I'm also going to use it to scrape up the brown bits on the bottom of the pan. All right, everything else goes into the pot now. Here I have 8 ounces of dried chickpeas. Now obviously, these aren't dried anymore. I soaked them overnight in some salted water, and that just ensures that they cook at the same time as the calamari. It also helps them hold together as they cook. They won't bust apart. And I love this recipe because it's amazing that the dried chickpeas and the calamari can cook at the same rate, and it's all thanks to the Instapot. Next up, a little chicken broth, just a cup of that. A big can of diced tomatoes, so the tomatoes and their juice go in. Now for the calamari. Oh yeah, all right. It's all in there. Now time for the pressure cooker to do its thing. I'm gonna close it, make sure we're sealed, and now we're gonna use the pressure cooker feature. High for 20 minutes, perfect, it's already set. And that's when the machine takes over. It's gonna bring this up to high pressure, and when it reaches high pressure, cook for 20 minutes, and after that, both the calamari and the chickpeas will be perfect. All right, she's done cooking. Press cancel. All right, it's off. Now, the thing with pressure cookers is you can adjust how you release the pressure, and that actually affects what's cooking inside. A natural release means you just leave it alone, turn it off, let that pressure naturally release slowly, but that extends the cooking time. Then you see recipes that tell you to let it rest for 15 and then let it go. This recipe, let it all out right away. I like to turn on the hood. We should be good. I saw it go down. Let all that steam back into the pot. That is good flavor right there. And it is still simmering away. There we go. All right, last but not least, time for more greens. I know, I used a lot of baby spinach today. It's good for you. It's so easy just to stir it into things, and it's another vegetable. This is gorgeous. Oh. All right, nothing better to serve with this than some pieces of bread to just dunk it right in. And of course, some of the wine that we cooked with. Again, just repeating the flavors. This is my kind of meal right here. This is all I need. Oh, all right, first up, the calamari. It is so tender. Has just the tiniest bit of chew, which is exactly what you want. Not mushy, but not a rubber band. It is perfection. And then the chickpeas, they just melt on your tongue. I love it, how all these flavors really come together in the Instapot, or the slow cooker, or the toaster oven, or the air fryer. There is no shame in letting a few machines help you get dinner on the table. See you next time. If you're ready to take your cooking to the next level, head over to americastestkitchen.com and get a free trial of our ATK Essential membership. While you're there, you can sign up for our free email newsletters and download our app. So, what are you waiting for?